She started her life as a shy nanny. She was thrust into the spotlight after falling for the heir to the throne. By the time she was tragically killed 15 years later, she'd gone on to become one of the world's most famous and most photographed women. But what was the real Diana, Princess of Wales, actually like? We're here with some of those answers. Please welcome Diana's biographer, Andrew Morton. Good to see you, Andrew.
Nice to see you.
Now, the book, a lot of people will know the book, Diana, Her True Story, in her own words. Now, you published this 25 years ago and were vilified at the time, and people thought you were like the devil incarnate. You had written this unauthorised biography of the princess, but then you revealed after her death that she actually had been very involved.
Yes, I mean, it was her idea, and we made a series of tape recordings. I asked her questions and she answered them through an intermediary, and she was on the phone as well, and we spoke to friends, and the whole idea initially was to give her some kind of deniability so she could work out her future with or without Prince Charles. And when, as you said, when the book came out, it was 150 pages. It's now grown like Topsy. It's like 450
because
pages.
You've now gone back to the tapes, have you?
Yeah,
so people will now read about what was actually on the tapes.
So you read the book, you also get the tapes, and also looking at her life from 1992 to a tragic death, and then obviously her legacy.
But did they know, do you think, in royal circles? Because there must have been people that thought, well, she's obviously talking to somebody. Where's he getting this information from?
Obviously, the royal family collectively put their heads in the sand about these things. They tend to ignore things unless they're really put in their faces. So we gave Diana deniability, but obviously when Prince Charles read some of the extracts, he knew that her voice was coming through the tapes.
And what was it like for you when you first heard her voice? I mean, did your jaw just drop to the floor?
Yeah, I mean, she said to James, "Oh, does Andrew want an interview?" Well, here's the world's most photographed, beloved princess in the world, who, at a time when nobody spoke. You didn't have the Martin Bashir stuff. I was incredulous, and I said, "Of course I do." And I first listened to the first tape in a working man's cafe in North Ruislip in London. Put the headphones on, and all around me, people were eating bacon and eggs and baked beans, and I was listening to Diana talking about something called bulimia nervosa, which I thought was a plant, this woman called Camilla, and her half-hearted suicide attempts. And I walked away as though I just entered a secret world, kind of a Harry Potter universe.
Another thing that was said in the paper today was that apparently Diana would ring Camilla and say to her that she sent somebody out to kill her. What? Yeah. Could you imagine Diana saying something like that?
Oh, I'm confident she could have done that, because she was obsessed about Camilla.
Did she love Charles?
Initially she did. I mean, I remember Diana. She had me get an ordnance survey map of that part of the West Country, and she would just work out the route that Camilla might take from Highgrove to her new place.
So you believe she could have said something like that?
I'm sure she could have done. I mean, she did all kinds of things which are preposterous. Right. But when you're consumed by jealousy, when you're feeling lonely, you do all kinds of silly things that a few years later you look back and you think, was that really me? Mm. What people always forget is that the worst time for her were the early days, what she called the Dark Ages. When she was speaking to me in 1991, she'd had her confrontation with Camilla Parker Bowles, this famous confrontation. She'd come to terms with her bulimia. She was no longer bulimic. She was the first royal to shake the hands of an AIDS sufferer. She was doing great things on the world stage. She was really finding herself as a young woman and as a princess. So she was totally compass mentis.
So why did she want all this out there, then?
She wanted to tell her story. She just felt that she was living a lie. She didn't want to live a lie any longer, and she wanted the world to know that this icon that they were looking at was somebody who was struggling to cope.
But you must have been frightened for your life after the book came out.
Well, when the book came out, I wasn't frightened for my life, but beforehand I was very, very nervous. Yes.
Yeah. Especially if you bumped into my nanny Thelma, she'd have your guts for
We've had a couple of comments here. Joyce says, please let Diana rest in peace and let the boys have a break from all this publicity. Bridie says, Andrew needs to let Diana rest in peace. Hasn't he been listening to her sons describing the trauma they've been through over the death of their beloved mother?
Well,
so most people worried about the boys.
Well, I'm sure, but the point that you can't escape is that Princess Diana is now a major historical figure who's had a tremendous impact on the royal family, in the same way that Edward VIII did with the abdication. And in 300 years' time, after I'm gone, after we're all gone, people, like they write about Anne Boleyn, will be writing about Princess Diana. So this is the bedrock material that they'll be using.
Yeah, but she's also a very lucrative industry, you know.
Yeah, well, but this book has been in print for 25 years. I mean, I'm very, very proud of this book. I mean, you know, it's something that I've worked very hard on.
Well, so it's out again. It's fully revised, the 25th anniversary edition, Diana, her true story in her own words by Andrew. Thank you very much. Andrew Morton, everybody.
Thank you.